Hello, guys. So today I kind of wanted to talk about Egyptian God Seth. Um, I had a really rough experience, but at the same time orgasmic experience with him. Um, I recently found a unique, empowering ritual that helps empower your warriors aspect and your sexual aspect with Lord Seth. Um, Recently, I did a ritual of my own that I kind of crafted through my experience with sex magic with Astarte, and I kind of mixed. I guess I kind of came up with my own little prayer, and it really helped a lot. So what I did was I crafted a white wax candle using obviously wax and my own semen, and I also um, the wick of the candle was soaked in my blood. And in doing this ritual and offering the candle to Set, I found extreme benefits from the meditation. Like it gets to a point. It got to a point where I started kind of seeing Set in in my mind's eye. And another thing to keep in mind is that when you invoke Seth, it's always good to clean your chakras out and to clean mainly your third eye, because with my third, I noticed that the more I open my third eye, the more I'm able to see Seth more clearly, and it definitely widens the experience. And I have to say, a lot of people tell me that Seth is usually like a difficult spirit to work with and stuff like that, and I don't think so, because I've tried invoking him through my experience, and to me, he was very destructive. Yes, he had a very destructive presence, but it was always a destructive presence towards things that do not serve you or things that don't serve your highest state of being. And so, let's say if you have like a fake friend or something, or somebody gossiping about you, anything of the sorts, um, what's going to end up happening is Seth is going to remove those people in a very chaotic way, and that's one of the things that I like about Seth, is that he's a very um, upstand like he's a very outstanding um, father figure, and he's very overprotective, and he when you work with him, he kind of views you as, I feel like, this sensation of type of family type of feeling. And also when working with Seth, usually most of the time I would smoke tobacco to I guess like heighten the experience of the whole like spiritual journey and stuff and whatnot. Um, Sorry, my words seem a little mixed up. I've been working with Seth all day for so long, and my mind is just kind of feels everywhere, because my energies, I don't know, they just feel wild right now, and it's very hard for me to think straight. Um, in terms of black flames, I did come across this chant from Legion of Lilith, and I did come across this one chant that he did release, and I believe it was called Seti Nigrum Infernalis, and chanting those words will allow you to channel the black flames of Set and cleansing your aura, allowing it to cleanse your aura. I did this technique while gazing into the semen and wax candle that I crafted myself, and the type of gnosis that I got was extremely, and I mean extremely intense. Um, Everywhere I go, I keep picturing Set in my mind everywhere I go, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not scared or anything like that. I view it as a good thing, and the reason being is because I kind of gotten to a point where I started working so deeply with Set that that I kind of just started to enjoy chaos and enjoy the chaotic aspects of the universe, and that also means my own suffering as well. And Seth kind of came into my life when everything was kind of falling to shit, and he kind of gives me, I guess, Lucifer vibes, where he's kind of like a father figure, and he kind of lifts you up when you fall. But Seth, when I work with Seth, and I've fallen in a very deep place in my life where, even now I still feel kind of like shit from all the situations that have been happening with breakups and relationship issues and all of that. And Seth is really, really starting to help me, like, really find myself worthy, and he really helps me to place more value in myself than I do with other people, because I tend to sometimes love other people more than I love myself. And Seth is trying to fix that about me. And he said that needs to be fixed because nobody will ever reciprocate 100% love. You know what I'm saying? Every human's love is flawed. And through working with his primal energies, you kind of realize that everything in the world is very temporary, and you shouldn't beat yourself up for making negative mistakes or slipping up every now and then, because you got to remember we're all human, and we all have peaceful needs, and we all have dark desires. No matter how perfect you are or how perfect you seem to be, there's always a duality that stands in this plane. Sometimes you feel like doing good, depending on the circumstances. You might feel like doing destructive things. Now, working with Seth also made me realize that negativity and dark energy is not necessarily bad. It depends the reason that you're using it for. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, when they think about Seth, they kind of think about like this very demonic, dark being that just loves death and destruction and all that, when there's much more sides to that, to Seth. And I've experienced his fury, his anger, his compassion through his fury. There's more layers to his fury. There's compassion, there's wisdom, and there's guidance and a fatherly embrace. And I know I don't know if this is weird for me. This is kind of weird for me explaining this, but whenever, I don't know, because every time I invoke Seth, I feel like this extreme euphoric type feeling that enters my body. And sometimes I would see his image, his face pop up in my mind's eye, and whenever I felt the energy of the black flames, I always found myself telling myself, I am Seth. I am Seth. And that gnosis would get so deep to a point of no return, and I would feel like I'm falling into an abyss. But this abyss brings me comfort, and I'm learning to find comfort in destructive aspects of everything in life, and I'm learning to find comfort in suffering and in pain. And sometimes you have to become pain to fully understand yourself and to fully understand the aspect of pain, so that you could gain the most useful information out of it for your higher self. I personally, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I don't really do, rituals perfectly. I try my best to channel things. I've only been in meditation for about, on the spiritual journey for about like a couple years. And I'm still searching for, new ways to channel the divine. And that's one thing I like about Seth. He teaches you how to channel the divine energy of the universe, divine prana, through chaotic aspects of things. You could find, I found that when I suffer, or when I go through negative events, I find that my third eye starts buzzing, or I feel this very, I feel like my third eye starts getting hot. And it's not a bad feeling, but it feels very euphoric and almost sexual, almost. And whenever, I know this sounds kind of funny, but every time I invoke Seth's energy, I feel this intense, destructive, and furious, passionate energy that's also kind of sexual, and it kind of and the energy rubs off on me so strong that I kind of feel that sexual urge and energy, and it kind of it makes me start to feel, I guess, turned on, or whenever I invoke Seth, I guess I get turned on, or I kind of have this feeling in me where I kind of get turned on by the aspect of death or destruction and war, and that's when I know that the energies are starting to seep in very nicely. Um, so yeah, when you're paying, when you if you're not really too much of a mind's eye person and you're not good at seeing spirits, you could still work with him and still feel his energies, because I promise you, images will pop up in your head still, and Seth's energy is very, very potent, and it will cut through all illusions inside of your mind. um, One thing I will share is that I do believe that Seth is not definitely not the evil person everyone claims him to be. I view him as kind of like the, I guess, wrathful personality of God in in the Egyptian tales. I feel like he is like the wrathful personality of God. Kind of like how in Hinduism we have, wrathful, destructive personalities of God, like Kali and so forth. But it's always for a good purpose. This is why the sun god Ra still kept Seth at his side, regardless of all the destructive things he's done, because it was supposed to be a metaphor that, yes, as much as destruction is very despised and looked down upon, it's very, very needed in order for evolution. And yeah, um, but yeah, about the whole experience with the ritual I did, it was very unique. It was very powerful. I really liked it. Um, I haven't worked with a being this powerful in over a very long time, and I do plan to continue my path working with Seth. Um, but yeah, I really love chaos, and I kind of like destruction. I find comfort in destruction. Uh, it fuels me, I guess I would say. It kind of fuels me. When people throw anger at me, or when people throw hatred or any type of negative thoughts or anything like that, I kind of like it, because it kind of, I guess, fuels the negative aspect of myself and makes me stronger. And I keep feeding on that. And like, it's almost like I devour it. And I think that's one thing that Seth also teaches, is how to devour the negative energy of other spirits, and spirits that mean you, or spirits that mean you harm, I should say. And lighting fires or burning red cloth, offering Seth red cloth, or I would offer him red rose petals, as to signify, I guess, his fury. And sometimes I would even give him food offerings, sometimes mainly meats, because he seems to really like flesh of animals and really likes meat. They say to give him rotten fish. From what I've heard, they say to give him rotten fish. I haven't done that yet. I do plan on doing that though, because I'm really interested into seeing the benefits from that. And the new ideas that I've thought about Seth. Um, well, I've always thought about, I guess, I remember reading a tale where Osiris's body was split apart, and there was a certain type of fish that consumed Osiris's testicles, that refrained him from being completely resurrected from the dead after the whole situation with Seth. And I was kind of thinking in my mind, well, that particular fish that supposedly is forbidden to eat because, it consumed Osiris's testicles apparently. I wonder if you were to grab that fish and sacrifice it to Seth, I wonder if that would empower the ritual by a long shot. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I might. Recently, going through this journey has been a very tough ride. You know, going through breakups and going through losing friends. You might lose friends going through shadow work. You might lose family even. You might lose people closest to you. You might lose everything even. And in that moment, in time when you lose everything, that moment when you lose everything and you have nothing left, just know that Seth is there in that darkness to lift you up. And that Seth is everywhere. Seth is the dark divine. And I don't know, I felt like I needed to put this message out, and because working with him today, something just told me to post a video about it and informing people about the ritual process I did, because I really want people to try it. Don't be afraid while in his presence, because one thing is fearing Seth, or whatever how people do it. Fearing Seth is actually not the wisest. You need to show that you are ready to do the work, that you are ready to cast aside your fears. And that's what I've been doing. Even though it's been hard for me, Seth has been helping me push through the way. And I've been trying to work on the warrior aspect of myself. I've been working out, meditating on Seth, on the chant I mentioned in the video, and working out afterwards also helps with invoking warrior spirit, through my experience at least. It definitely invokes the shadow warrior aspect of myself within, and I feel like everyone should try it. But remember, you know, chaos is only bad when it's out of order. And that's another thing Seth told me, is that chaos is only bad when out of order. It needs to be directed. It needs to be chaos needs to be controlled by a user in order to use for obviously good purposes. Seth is more like, I guess, an anti-hero, I guess, in the sense. But yeah, stay safe, you guys. You know, keep meditating on the shadow side, no matter how hard things get in life. You know, just know that the suffering leads to evolution, and it leads to true growth. And even if you're breaking inside right now, just know that your break will be a breakthrough, and you will find bliss and blessings and destruction. May Seth guide you all through the deserts, and may Seth guide you through your chaotic life, and may Seth guide you through the path of this dark valley. I mean. You guys stay safe. You guys stay safe. Blessings of Seth to you. Never forget the shadow side. Never forget the baneful aspects of yourself that make you who you are. Because in doing so, you'll always find yourself fighting yourself. All hail Seth. Stay blessed.